Fiji has announced its big budget spend up of over 4.3 billion Fijian dollars for the next financial year. It aims to address the high cost of living and pay for the hefty bill racked up by the previous governments and the global pandemic, coupled with multiple tropical cyclones and the effects of Russia's war on Ukraine. While unveiling the budget in Suva this morning, Finance Minister Professor Biman Prasad told the nation the focus is firmly on rebuilding and navigating the country from its economic crisis to provide a better standard of living for its people. Joining me is our journalist Rachel Nath, who's been covering the budget. Bula Rachel, it's been a big day for Fiji, hasn't it?
Yes, indeed, it has been. Fiji has just received its next financial roadmap. So this essentially will guide Fiji out of the economic crisis that it's found itself in from because of the actions of the previous government. This government has pointed out that there's just been a poor management of funds or poor management of policies, and also external factors like Fiji was hit really badly with the tropical cyclones in the last 3 years and the pandemic, and so all of this has put Fiji in a tight position, and that's caused the government to have to look at some policies that will help pull the country out of this debt crisis.
How much the government has had to give up from its budget to address the hefty debt?
Well, nearly 25% of the budget this year has gone into servicing this debt. The government has called it, the finance minister himself said that this remained one of the country's biggest challenges. And on top of this, the government has to find an extra 1 billion Fijian dollars to service the debt. They don't have enough money as it is because the budget has gone into deficit. So finding an extra $1 billion is a challenge.
Well, that will sound like Fiji is backed up against the wall, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is because it's got a deficit of about $639 million, and asking to find an extra $1 billion is, yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. And the government has given a lot of thought into this budget because Professor Biren Prasad told journalists this afternoon in Fiji that they considered this to be a compassionate budget because in a situation like this where a country is backed up financially and have to pay debt, what the government would initially do is just increase the personal income tax, and so that would hit Fijians' pockets directly. They would have to pay out more money into the to fill up the government coffers, but Professor Prasad said that that's not how they approached it. They gave a lot of thought, and because of that, the tax reforms does not include an increase in individual tax. Actually, one of the few changes that have come through is putting basic food items. This is like flour, rice, eggs have come down to about zero VAT ratings, so there's no tax there, and that also includes prescribed medication now that's been included. But on the other hand, they still need to fill up the government spending possibilities, and so we have seen an increase as well of 15% to general food items, and that would bring in about $444 million back into the economy.
And what was the big ticket number?
All right, so one of the biggest takers of the pie has to be the education sector. Hands down, the education sector has gotten about 845 million Fijian dollars. This is a new government. We have to, I guess, give them respect where it's due. That it's only been 6 months since they've come into government, winning the elections, and at the back of that, they made promises that they have to deliver as well because their voters are expecting to see come into fruition, and I guess they have delivered on a promise, a major promise. The entire coalition parties, individual parties, had said that they would pardon the tertiary the TELS, the tertiary loan scheme debt of students. So that's like a student debt loan that the government would pardon it. And they've pardoned it in this budget. The budget now will need to be debated in Parliament next week, which was passed on the floor today, allowing for a debate to start next week. And it will be debated over a day and voted at the end of it. And we should have more update on that next week for you. Thank you, Sana.